There's a moment that doesn't feel like panic. It feels like accounting. Nothing bad has to happen. No tragedy, no hospital room, no goodbye. You're just standing in a normal day, and suddenly you see it. Your time isn't passing. It's being spent. And what makes that moment so disturbing isn't that you'll die someday. It's that you can finally sense the cost of an average Tuesday. When you're young, the future feels expandable. You can always start later, fix it later, become the version of yourself you imagine later. But there is a point where later stops feeling like a place and starts feeling like a number. That's when time becomes real. Because the mind can ignore abstract endings, but it can't ignore inventory. You begin to understand, not emotionally, but structurally, that you have a limited supply of ordinary days. And ordinary days are what life is made of. This realization rarely arrives when people talk about death. It arrives in quieter ways. It arrives when you notice your parents aging, and the change isn't dramatic, just visible. It arrives when you hear a song you used to love, and you don't feel nostalgia, you feel distance. You realize you've been saying, "We should catch up" for years, and nothing ever happens. Time doesn't announce itself with a warning. It reveals itself through repetition. Once you see that, you notice some things aren't just delayed, they're simply not happening. Most people live as if time refunds. As if you can trade months for comfort now and get them back later with interest. But time doesn't refund. It doesn't negotiate. And the unsettling part is realizing you can lose years without a single disaster. You can lose them to normal. Time feels most finite around people. Not because of drama, but because of arithmetic. How many more times will you see a friend you rarely see? A strange cruelty of adulthood is that you can love people and still let years pass without them. Not out of malice, but out of momentum. That's the moment time stops being philosophical and becomes personal. You can feel the difference between "I care about this" and "I made time for this." The moment you realize time is finite isn't a loud moment. It's just a quiet shift from "I have time" to "I have a certain amount." And after that, the question changes. Not "what do I want to do someday?" but "what am I spending my ordinary days on?" Because ordinary days are not the filler. They are the entire thing. Thanks for watching.